step up and continue to carry out these games, and I still want to see Sword Art's creativity coming to the forefront.
Well, so far so good at the start of the draft. Anivia Gangplank the change there as Gambit have banned away Skarner. So first two bans remain the same. I do like I guess it's Flash Wolves that make the adaptation. They clearly know the power of Gangplank, are going to keep it out of this game.
Gangplank is one of those champions that scales so well and then has like a fantastic 1-4. So has very limited areas where you can attack him unless you're willing to all in invest into the turret dives, into taking him down. And that requires a comp to be built around the top side of the map, which unfortunately we just do not see all that often.
Now I'm looking at priority for the Flash Wolves because so far they have banned things like the Kaisar in last game. They also banned away in game 1 Anivia GP Ezreal, and it looks like they're just mimicking that performance. Now, would the Rakan take it off the board? I don't suddenly imagine that Sejuani becomes their first pick, but that doesn't mean that a Trundle or a jungle pick is out of the question.
I like the Kai'Sa ban though from Gambit, again, keeping that one away despite decent amount of success with it in their hands in the first game, but looks like Mujin, yep, just going to stick to the Trundle.
And if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and we've seen so much Trundle, and it has not been successfully navigated through a counter pick point of view by many teams yet.
So with the Kaisar off the board, you're thinking about Gambit. Will they try something different? Will you just trust in your players and go, you know what? Let's go a little bit more aggro.
Play
Let's
the
see if we can
Nocturne
get
comp. I don't care. Just play the damn Nocturne
I think
comp.
Nocturne's also... Oh, okay.
There we go. I mean, a classic pick for Gambit in general. Diamond obviously has a lot of experience on the champ. I also like the Jhin a lot from Logic, just willing to say, Edward and I have been very willing to be aggressive in games, so I'm just going to pick the Jhin, and let's just find an earlier pressure point we can play with.
Sound the horn, go into the sniper setting, just get everything set up for Kira and Diamond to be able to access team fights. That is where they were having success during the play-in stage. And Jhin, to me, is still one of those champions that you can successfully navigate lanes. He scales absolutely fine into the late game as long as there's not heaps of tanking members and can still be played.
But look at the engage options available for Flash Wolves. Alistar still up and available. Ornn still up and available. Two big comfort picks for the Flash Wolves. And you think about how great of a game Sword Art had on Alistar before. Now he's going into an immobile AD carry rather than an Ezreal. And you would only imagine that that is the comfort pick for him.
So slight misclick, wanted Alistar, got Annie for a second, but has since swapped it over to give Sword Art a repeat opportunity to have another great game. But there's Morgana actually for Edward, so kind of still sticking with the theme, not as aggressive perhaps, but still a very solid support.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think this gives them back the push in the laning phase.
For sure.
They'll be able to bully out on the Alistar, and if you're stuck underneath the turret as Sword Art, potentially you don't get the opportunities to be able to rotate around Summoner's Rift. Morgana, one of those picks that, if played well, is super stifling to play against.
And I think that Morgana does a lot of things that are valuable against this comp as well, because it mitigates the engage from the Alistar, assuming that it's not the Morgana getting instantly flash pulverized, and then the Trundle Pillar becomes effectively redundant. You do have to be careful from the Varus ultimate that can break it, but it can still mitigate a lot of that engage tool. So I think that in lane, and when Flash Wolves are looking for picks, that Morgana will mitigate a lot of that.
And the bans that are coming through are just proof that the Flash Wolves aren't rattled at all. There's no change. There's no change, but there's also no like recent power pick that they now have to adapt and kind of take away. They're still going towards things that, they just don't want to play against. They don't want to get cheese. They don't want to play against something like a Karthus, so they continue to take that away. And I think that right now, I'm looking for something to come up that kind of breaks this mold that Flash Wolves have put on this series.
The Rise will be a change for them, though, at least. Gambit have banned it twice already. Camille, the other ban, as Sion is locked in there for Gambit.
Well, we wanted to see pushing lanes for Gambit. We get it now in the bottom lane. You've got it up in the top. You would imagine Flash Wolves looking at something like the Cho'Gath once again. Pretty good as an answer, unless they want more engage to come out, which they can do with the Ornn.
Well, they've got Alistar. They're thinking Ornn maybe just add some more cowbell. It's not quite the same with the Ornn Horn, but it looks like that will be the lock in there for Flash Wolves.
And I wonder how supportive Maple goes in this composition, because there is some damage coming out of Mujin, and we've seen him play a couple of, not high threat DPS carries. That is going to be a high threat DPS carry if he locks in, and that's one of the questions that I had. Can Maple ascend to his past brilliance? Because his 2017 was not the Korean slaying, was not the solo killing Faker Maple that we had seen of the past. And this could be the road back to that.
This is at the very least the first step on his eventual or potential road back towards earning that title. Now, Gambit once again with the hover. I feel like they're not going to go for it. They've drafted themselves a pretty good pick comp. I could see it making a little bit more sense in this draft because you can set it for a 1-3-1. You would be lacking in a little bit of wave clear, but Vladimir in the early levels doesn't have a huge amount of power, and the Kassadin should be able to mitigate that. So I think in this draft, it makes a little more sense than it did before.
I mean, there's another champion that sounds very similar to that one. That might also have been a decent pick here. Cassiopeia, we have seen into Vlad already. So, I mean, again, I think Kira is just defaulting the combat. Clearly, they have practiced this pick and are confident in it. It is tough for Gambit fans to have confidence right now, but this is all they have left. They must win every single game from now on.
And the one thing I will say is if you all of a sudden isolate someone in a side lane against the Kassadin, at least you've got a Kha'Zix to come in and blow them up with high mobility this game. So I'm kind of in a similar vein. I don't love the pick, but it makes more sense in this composition. It's also historically been not a bad matchup for the Kassadin.
But I do think that with Gambit's comps, where's the ulti? Look at Sion, he's in the bottom lane as well.
Here we go, charging down the bot lane. I think they have to know what's up now. Sordo barely going to miss beating a binding of Betty. About to get drifted up. First blood charging straight in. It is Stayhouse onto Betty. Now Sordo and Hanabi are going to try and defend under the turret, but Gambit, they want more. They can feel the fire back in. They're going to try and get aggressive. Sordo's the target of a diamond. He tanked one too many shots. And now Hanabi is going to go back in onto Stayhouse. Flash was going to trade there.
That ends up being a 1-4. Now look at how low Kira is.
Whoa! Flash Mugen forcing the mid lane. Olodic, he's out of there.
He's still in some trouble though, because Mugen's going to cut him off.
Out of there for how long?
No way.
Like, all right, do I bait? Do I bait? I have to leave. Please don't chase me. Mabel's like, yeah, you're donezo, mate. You're going to flash in, get the ignite hemo flag down. Olodic is like, Yep. Maple with a kill. Oh, Mugen, another aggressive.
Oh, no.
Flash Wolves, they're just imitating Gambit style. You want a Flash Wolf? Flash too.
Oh, the Flash Wolves turn out amazingly after Gambit tried to force a play. The counter engage from Sorda, the collapse from Maple, everything falls apart for Gambit as they just get too greedy under the tower.
Yeah, and I think they just did not execute well on that dive. Stayhouse, the tankiest member on the lineup, drops aggro, Diamond picks it up, level 5 bug, gets squashed in the bottom lane. Then he walks back through the turret, takes 90% of his health, cannot go for the withdraw at the same time as his 80 carry. And it looks like Sorda really wants to just dig the heels in.
Back to where he almost is, roaming in another lane. He's not even level 6, but he's not going to need it. There's the no flash Sion about to get chain CC'd for a very, very, very long time. Hanabi grabs it.
And you know what Sorda's saying? He's saying, if you come to my lane, whoa, not going to lie. If you come to my lane and gank me, I am more than happy to return the favor, my friend. You ran the choo-choo train over my 80 carry right here, but you know, who can play that?
And I'm going to mimic you because here we see, woo, the counter engage into the bottom lane. The Sion, the beautiful drift, gets a kill down onto Betty, and this is great. Perfect start. At this point, you is now towards the bottom side. Even though Flash Wolves have been spotted, they force Gambit away from the tower. So even though they've had this pushing 2 versus 2, Flash Wolves recognize, you know what, we still want to have this control. We have a winning top. Let's see if they can stop it.
Diamond here, but Flash Wolves just going to go diving. 4v3, going to try and make it happen. There's an ult out, but that's Edward dead. Maple able to grab the last hit.
And Kira does not follow. The early game Kassadin has no real impact, and Mugen is just working with Maple as he always has done to get Flash Wolves another early tower.
And it's not only that, it's that they go from mid to bot, they transfer the pressure down there just in case Diamond wasn't there and is looking for a gank top lane at the same time. There's no counterplay here for Gambit apart from soaking up 2 additional waves of experience in gold, and when you compare that to the first turret advantage going down, it's just not the same.
And this is it. The vision all gets cleared out by the Flash Wolves. They know that there are no summoner spells on Edward and Lodic. They simply wait for the black shield to disappear, and then Betty throws his ult.
Form of pressure, but there is just nothing here for Gambit to gain.
Sorda just happy to go back in again. Mugen with a massive pillar onto 2. Edward trying to fight him with the pulverize. Just going to delete one. Mugen able to get Edward. Silence unstoppable. Chasing the ball out of the ring. But red buff going over. I mean, Gambit is running out of stuff to do at 12.5 minutes.
Yeah, this game is getting very ugly. You can see Flash Wolves just confident play after confident play, walking in as a unit.
Kind of look at the levels and they're the same. You kind of look at farm and they're very similar. And while a couple of items have been completed, the gap isn't so monstrous that Gambit are just suddenly weak. It's simply the fact the Flash Wolves are moving around the map that much quicker, and they're utilizing the fact that Gambit's composition does not allow them to really stop these early playmaking. But with the Rift Herald, Flash Wolves will likely get themselves another tier 2, but their next goal is really just controlling the enemy jungle and starving Gambit out as much as possible.
And that's what it comes down to, because when you have a look at a 4,000 gold lead, if everyone has 1,000 gold each, you know, that's what we're kind of looking at the moment. It manifests itself in a pickaxe advantage. They're looking to collapse on Maple here.
Yep, gonna go 1v2. Diamond and Kira also down here. Maple might just turn tail and try and finally get the TP in. Now 1v3, soon to be a 2v3 is Maple and Mugen roaming once again. He barely misses out on living, but they're gonna look for the trap. Sorta back in again. Looking for Diamond, who's forced to flash out of the way. The headbutt kill will be donated over to the Trundle.
Where did Sword Art come from? This guy finds secret passages throughout Summoner's Rift and is always there to help his team out of dire situation.
It's just so funny to watch. All of a sudden you're like, yeah, we're fighting 2v2, we'll retreat back to our turret. Why the heck is there an Alistar at our tier 2?
He just shows up and he's like, boom.
That's it. One of you have a new job. I'm not following stuff on screen. Somebody has to track Sword Art, because those movie boots are painted red or something.
You need a Sword Art cam, you know, that just tracks wherever he's going. They must have found these secret hidden passages, but we can just track him on the minimap. So he pushed up mid, he comes into the enemy jungle, he's like, my bot laner is in danger. Do not fear, Maple, I'm on my way. The TP comes in, and because you're Vladimir, you get to stall for a little while, but the ulti just didn't quite pop, and he didn't have the second proc on his Q either. And then, fortunately, Sword Art shows up, and that gives enough for him and Mugen to... Unless Sword Art gets in the way, of course.
Yeah, potentially.
He will get in the way at this stage. Kira actually...
Kira.
Who's flanking who? Kira, yep, gotta be careful. Over the wall you go. Oh, he goes onto them! I think that must have been a misclick.
I guess he had no way out.
Yeah, he just wanted to surprise. He thinks maybe I can burst Betty out, but now Maple, he's in trouble.
Well, whatever happened here was bad news for Kira. Ulti, yep, gonna get pulled out of there by Maple. Vladimir just sending some love their way with that Q maxed up with the Blood Rush. And hey, there's the Rift Herald we found a few minutes ago. Now, we're going to finish off that tier 2 turret. 4 turrets to 0. Now as Flash will just keep getting further ahead.
And they just walk into your jungle, they take your mid laner, they take your red buff, they take your top lane tier 2, they back out as a unit, and they're just still looking to create picks if Gambit cheat through vision.
They just take everything from you as the Flash Wolves continue to strangle Gambit out. That goal lead is only getting bigger. And while Gambit have had a fantastic play-ins up against the veterans of the Flash Wolves with 2 new players, they have not been able to answer the pressure.
This is an absolute shellacking. Like, this game has so quickly become...
What is a shellacking?
Like a really one-sided affair.
I see.
Yeah, this game has very quickly become like a hole that Gambit will struggle to dig themselves out of. You can see that Stehos is trying to maintain one of his outer turrets. Says, please.
Sort of. I thought he had Hex Flash because he was hanging behind the wall, and I was like, surely he's not going to try and dive this. But he was just trying to send a message, you know, peering through the trees, being like, I'm watching you. I'm ready to dive if you go anywhere near my lane.
Well, Gambit looks like they're about to maybe lose another full side of the map. Looks like Flash Wolves are going to disengage, so good pressure there, down there onto the tier 2 bump. But good news that it's only 5 turrets to 0 and not 6. Blue buff, though, does get taken away from the Kassadin.
Positive fall, only 5 turrets, you know, only 2,000 gold down in the jungle
It's only
position
19
right
minutes,
now.
don't worry about it too much.
Diamond says, if you're going to steal my jungle, I'm next step ahead of you. Like, I'm just going to go to yours.
I'll steal your soul, though. Maple ghosting into battle.
Okay, this is a little over eager for Maple. He has no vision right now.
You say that now. It does get the shimmer down with the E, but all right, knows a little bit better. Sword Art's already on the way, by the way. Just hoofing it up towards the left side. Flash Wolves back invading on the left side.
And I mean, this just looks like the Flash Wolves right now, outclassing Gambit, unfortunately. You can see that they're in behind Kira again.
This is an exquisite performance from Flash Wolves, but also, like, when you think about it, going into the main group stage when you're going up against some, like, very hyped up teams in Kingzone, RNG, Liquid, Fnatic, EVOS as well, after their great performance yesterday, you kind of want to show that you're a step above the other competition and that you can play with some of the bigger regions, you know? So the fact that the Flash Wolves have had such a great series so far can only fill them with confidence coming into the main.
Only 1 slot left, and the Flash Wolves say that has our name on it, Gambit, as they continue to apply the pressure. Diamond is invisibly sneaking through the brushes just to get a bit of information. At this point, I think Gambit are rightly worried about a very early Baron. In fact, it's already been started.
have absolutely zero vision. I'm not sure if they have any blue trinkets to spot this one out. It looks like they will. They'll drop it down.
This is going to be the fight. Oh, sort of. Again, another very creative thing. And Seos just goes in basically to die. Starting his own personal 1v5. Hanabi looks for the ult and finds it landing in. The Chain CC will be there. They've now lost their front line. And the Baron is now an even realer possibility.
And ladies and